Okay. Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle again. On my last video, I said I would do a video of what I think of the top 10 best WWE champions of all time. But the more I started thinking about it, the WWE has been around for over 30, 40, 50 years pretty much. And there's just been so many champions from both past and present who can really be on the top of the list. I thought it was a little bit unfair for me to make a list of top 10. So instead, I decided to make a list of top 20 best WWE champions of all time in WWE's history. So it's the top 20 list. You guys understand my situation. I'm recording this through a phone, so I can only put a certain number of minutes, upload a certain amount of minutes onto YouTube through my phone here. So what I'm going to do is this video is going to be cut up into 4 parts, guys. 4 parts listing my pick of what I think are the top 20 best WWE or F champions in WWE's history. So this is part 1 of 4 videos. So starting off at number 20 on my list is Yokozuna. You guys may say, Yokozuna? Why the hell we pick Yokozuna? Yokozuna was a big guy, but Yokozuna could, he's just a dominating force in the ring. He really was. No one could really stop Yokozuna. I mean, he's a big 500-pound monster and just, pretty much destroyed everybody, in their way. I would say that he was really the real Samoan bulldozer before Samoa Joe came along. I think he was the very first one, to really just bulldoze through the competition. When he beat guys like Bret Hart or Hulk Hogan for the title, it was just like, whoa, like who's gonna stop this big dominating force? Known as Yokozuna. So Yokozuna is number 20 on my list. Number 19 on my list is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. This was when Ric Flair won the WWE title like twice, back in '91 and '92, if memory serves me right. But Ric Flair was just like I said, Ric Flair is just one of those legendary wrestlers. Where even though he was past his prime, back in the early '90s, you didn't mind to see him, be on top of his game and be the number 1 guy, one last time, let him have one last good run as a world champion. And I think Ric Flair, is one of those type of guys, and he truly earned it and deserved it. Number 18 on my list is the superstar Billy Graham. A lot of you guys may not know him. Billy Graham is a wrestler like way before my time. And even though it's way before my time, like I said, I consider myself to be a big wrestling historian, and part of me being a wrestling historian is that I watch and I obtain knowledge from wrestlers of the past, and I just think if you don't have knowledge of wrestlers of the past, you know what I mean, you kind of understand the business more, a little bit more, if you watch footage of wrestlers back in the old days, because these were the guys that laid the foundation for wrestlers of today. If it wasn't for guys like Billy Graham and Ric Flair, we wouldn't have the wrestlers that we have today. So Billy Graham is number 18 on my list. Billy Graham had some great matches too, and back in his early days, in the golden days, when WWE was still territorial. But back in the 70s, 60s, kind of like. So the superstar Billy Graham is number 18 on my list. I'm surprised he's not on the Hall of Fame list. Number 17 on my list as greatest WWE champion is the Ultimate Warrior. A lot of you guys may also dispute this too, because saying, Ultimate Warrior is a flash in the pan. He only won the belt once. But Ultimate Warrior, like I said in my last video when I had talked about the WCW champions, Ultimate Warrior was like Goldberg in my opinion. He was only in the business for a cup of coffee, but while he was there, he was charismatic. Fans got behind him. People loved him, and like I said, Ultimate Warrior was just he was an interesting character. For a decade, back in the '80s, where a lot of the wrestlers were very kind of cartoony and superhero like. Ultimate Warrior is probably the only guy that I liked during that time. You know what I mean? He's probably the only superhero like persona that I didn't mind getting behind and supporting. So he had he's a one-time WWE champion, but you can't deny, like I said, you have to put Ultimate Warrior on the list because he was a great a great champion. You know, he had a 1-year run with it, and sure, he only won it once, but I think Ultimate Warrior was a great WWE champion. Number 16 on my list is another guy who I think should have made the Hall of Fame. Surprisingly, he's not, but also he doesn't want to be either, is Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino was one of the early guys who was trained and came out of Stu Hart's wrestling dungeon. If you guys don't know, Stu Hart is Bret Hart's father, and Bret Hart's father, Stu, had trained lots of wrestlers, fantastic wrestlers, from his school, even Bret and Owen themselves. But before Bret and all those other guys that were trained out of the school, Bruno Sammartino, was one of the early first guys to come out of his school, and he was the guy, I would say, along with Billy Graham, who laid that foundation down, who laid the foundation down for what WWE is today. The Bruno Sammartino was before your Hogans and your Flairs and your Austins and your Rocks. Bruno Sammartino was the guy who was carrying the WWE company on his back, and this was back when WWE was, in territorial, in the territorial phase. So, and he was the guy, who, like I say, really laid the foundation down for this company. So Bruno Sammartino is number 16 on my list. This is it for part 1 of 4 videos. I'll be making part 2 right now and uploading this. So please stay tuned, guys, for the next 3 videos I'm going to make on who I think are the best top 20 WWE/F champions in WWE's history.